the Literary Princess, and today I have a George Eliot project video for you. Today we are talking about her 1864 short story, Brother Jacob, which was published in Cornhill magazine. Although this was published in 1864, it was actually written in 1860. So there will be spoilers. It's a short story. I can't talk about it without telling you the plot, as with most George Eliot things. And I'll give you a bit of a summary, the kind of major themes, and then what I thought. So Brother Jacob is the story of David Foe, a young man who is a confectioner's apprentice who decides he wants to go out to the West Indies and seek his fortune. However, he doesn't have any money to do that. So he decides he's going to steal the guineas that his mother has set aside. And he comes up with this whole plot to do it and get away unnoticed. And then hide them and go back for them later and then be like, I'm leaving, and so that nobody will suspect him. However, his brother, Jacob, comes across him as he's trying to hide the guineas. Now, Jacob has an intellectual disability, and David goes through this whole thing of kind of trying to trick him, and then eventually just gives him the slip and runs off. So everybody knows he took him, the guineas, but... So he goes to the West Indies. Then we skip ahead several years, and we meet David again, returned to the area where he originally was from, but a town a little further off, and he is going by the name Edward Freely. So he has completely changed his identity, and he sets up shop as a confectioner. And at first, people aren't buying from him because the women of the town are like, we can make our own baked goods, thank you. But eventually they're kind of lured in and they start buying, and he starts moving his way up in the society of the town until he is engaged to a young woman who is like fairly up there for the society of the town. However, it all comes crashing down when Jacob comes to town and recognizes his brother Davy, and it unravels. Everyone finds out that he's been lying about his identity and who he is, and that he's not some wealthy guy that's an heir to some West Indian fortune. And, things are set right again, and we live happily ever after, I guess. So this is generally read as a discussion of both capitalism and colonization. Obviously, David Foe is just this completely greedy guy who's willing to steal from his mother. Like, does that? As a way to get ahead, and he's willing to lie and try to marry above his station, kind of, and pretend that he has a wealthy relative who he's going to be the heir of, and all this stuff, all because of this idea of money and status being so important. And the consumption of the baked goods is kind of this, I guess, metaphor for how capitalism and consumerism is kind of corrupting. And again, the baked goods, the sugar, which was coming from the West Indies, which was being produced with slave labor. This is set before emancipation. And so the kind of ethics of that, and again, this kind of, it's almost corrupting the townspeople. I didn't like this. I didn't like this at all. I gave it 2 stars. This is my least favorite George Eliot piece ever. Ever. I was so uninterested the whole time. It's just like, I don't care. There was nothing to care about. I don't mind unlikable characters, but there was nothing to care about here. This David guy, horrible. Didn't really like any of the townspeople. They're not well drawn enough characters, which is what Eliot has always succeeded at for me. even when I don't like the book very much. Middlemarch, great example. Again, we'll be rereading that, maybe my mind will change. But wasn't a big fan of that, but some of those characters made it worth it, at least. These characters were just so one-dimensional. There was nothing to them at all. And then there's the portrayal of Jacob. So Jacob has an intellectual disability. And wow, is this not a good portrayal? Wow, it's bad. And I'm like, it's the Victorian era. Of course it's bad. No, it's bad even, I feel like it's bad even for the Victorian era. I mean, probably not. There's probably considerably more offensive ones out there. But I mean, I'm thinking of Anne Catherick in Wilkie Collins as The Woman in White, who at least has like some depth to her. And it's just nothing. There's nothing here. It's just this kind of caricature portrayal, and I didn't like it. So this was not a success. I gave this 2 stars. So that's the lowest that I have rated any George Eliot piece. And like, I didn't like The Lifted Veil, which was her other singular short story either, but I gave that, like, it was okay. I gave that 3 stars. At least it felt like there was something to it. There just felt like there was nothing to this. I'm almost like, Eliot, I'm disappointed in you. Because no matter what from Eliot, I feel like I can always count on there being characters that I'm interested in, or that at least make me feel something. And is that something sometimes extreme hatred? Sure. Eliot has written some of my least favorite characters ever. We went through that whole thing with my top 10 most hated Victorian characters. But for there to be nothing to these characters, and like, yeah, David's despicable, but there's nothing more to him than that. There's nothing to make me really even be that mad at him. Like, I'm just kind of like, wow, who does that, you piece of crap? But I don't care. So, Brother Jacob was a disappointment to me. Let me know down in the comments below. Have you read Brother Jacob? What did you think of it? Was it more successful for you than it was for me? Hopefully be getting up a video on a biography of George Eliot by Rosemary Ashton. I don't know if that's going to be in November, or if it's going to be in December, or if it's going to happen at all. I don't actually know. But I will be leaving off with George Eliot's fiction until January. I will be picking up with Felix Holt the Radical, which is the only book by her I have not read yet. So, it has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.